have two very special anecdotes about my experiences at Midwest. The first of which, and like I said, I started teaching in 1989 at Miami Senior High School in the heart of Little Havana. So it was a very underprivileged area. We literally had zero extra instructors, except maybe the drumline instructor for marching band. I had a real special bond with the jazz band kids, well, with all my kids, actually. But basically, they didn't have anything. They had very humble beginnings, and somehow they made it to the national stage. We made it to Midwest in 93 and in 98, and I have two very special anecdotes from both years, if I may share them. One of the things that I love about Midwest is this beautiful international community. There is so much admiration for the directors and for the students, and I don't think it's just because they're good at what they do. I think it's because there's a real appreciation and an understanding of what it took to get there, and that these are kids. And so, directly tying into my anecdote of 93, I think I was about 25 at the time and really scared about being on stage in front of an audience, most of whom the people were twice my age. We were on stage, and the last number was was actually my first attempt ever in my life at an original composition. What a place to try it out at Midwest, right? So it was a salsa chart, and it was called Con Pasión, with passion. And basically, it was at the end of the program, and it was a real upbeat, high energy tune. And anyway, we played our concert, did the entire thing. And right before my composition at the end, a gentleman in the audience passed out. And of course, we were all very worried about him. The audience was sitting there, and the concert was halted. So I remember that Dick Dunscombe was on stage with me. And I was like, well, gosh, I hope he's okay, this and that. And also, I was also, well, more worried for the gentleman for sure, but also concerned that I didn't want the audience to, get up and leave like right before the last number. For some reason, nobody left. The paramedics came, they treated the gentleman, then they took him out. It turned out, I believe, that he had a seizure and he was okay. But the audience stayed, and that was such a show of respect to the children who came all the way from Miami and had these humble beginnings. And here they were on this national stage, and instead of people getting up and going, they waited. To this day, I can't explain it, but it was wonderful. The other anecdote that I have is even more special to me. And I had just gotten married, and I found out that I was with child. It was my first child. When we found out we made Midwest, I decided to write a piece for the baby because I knew that I would be 5 months pregnant. And I called it Ojitos, which means in Spanish, it means little eyes, because I couldn't wait to see my baby's little eyes. And it was basically written in stages, and it was supposed to emulate the various stages of a kid's life. And then here I am 5 months pregnant, and I'm describing to the audience the piece and how it was supposed to emulate the stages of the kid's life. And honestly, to me, it was more important not for the audience to love the piece, but if they loved the piece, it meant that they loved the baby too. And my students had been rehearsing for this baby on this tune, excited because they already adopted him. I mean, he wasn't even born yet. The energy between the kids and myself, and the baby was in my stomach, and I was on the piano, and the audience was like hopping and jumping, and I was looking around, and there was no judgment. They were dancing in their seats. And when it was over, it was just a ravenous round of applause. And it was, I guess, applause not just because the band sounded pretty decent, but they were playing it for this baby that was in here. And just basically, he passed away 3 years later, which made it extremely difficult to ever listen to that piece. I put it away, and it was hidden in my closet for 17 years. I didn't even know it was there because my husband was afraid I was going to throw it away in my sorrow. And I found the box and listened to the piece 2 years ago. And I posted the experience because it was very difficult. It brought back a lot of memories. One of the things I was really upset about was the fact that I never got to make music with my boy. And I didn't realize after all those years that we did make music. He inspired me to write that piece, and I got to share it at Midwest with this beautiful audience. And even in the womb, I was sharing music with this little boy who's up there now. Somebody saw the Facebook post, and my husband's uncle, Mark Taylor, my friend Alan Baylock too. And basically they were like, this is great, you should send it to the publisher. And I did, and Hal Leonard took the piece. It's my first publication after 17 years. And it's because of that magical moment at Midwest. I really think that people should go to Midwest as much as they can because there is this international energy of camaraderie and respect. I'm really happy to say I've got my first two ballads that I've ever written also are going to be played at Midwest this year. So I'm having two pieces premiered at Midwest. And again, one of them is with Mundelein High School, Andy Sturgeon, and the other one is being premiered by the 2 o'clock lab band at University of North Texas with Rod Parton as the conductor. So I'm very, very grateful for all of that. At this point right now, my goal is to just try to make as many kids in band rooms all over the world as happy as possible with my music. And I hope that whoever goes to Midwest really feels that connectivity that I always feel when I go.